All right, let's start on our Unit 1 application packet. So this lecture is going to be an application packet overview. So basically, here's what we're doing. This is lecture 1.2, so we are in week 2 now. All right, so assignment 1 overview. So here are the nuts and bolts of the assignment. Big things to keep in mind that you can kind of come back to check in to make sure that you have everything you need and you're doing everything correctly. So first and foremost, you're creating 6 documents for this packet. If you do not have 6 documents, you need to go back and see what you're missing. Be sure that you are on top of listening to this, you are thoroughly reading your assignment sheet to be sure that you have the nuances of all this. But in a nutshell, here are your 6 documents. The first one is going to be job call analyses. So this is one document that will include the analysis of 2 different job calls. And you're going to use these job calls to write different documents. But this is your first one, an analysis of 2 different job calls. Then you're going to do a resume analysis from a professional in your field. So be sure on this second one that you're not doing an analysis of one of the student samples I give you, but that you go out through LinkedIn or social media or Monster, wherever you can find one, look for a resume from an actual professional in your field. It can be someone that you know, a friend, a relative, a boss. So a resume analysis of a professional in your field. So you're going to look at someone who's been in the business and what their resume looks like. You're going to produce 2 different cover letters responding to the 2 different job calls. You're going to produce 1 resume, and then at the end of it all, you're going to do a 300 word, which is just a short paragraph, kind of reflection of the resume and cover letter. What this is going to be is you're basically going back and explaining to me how you crafted these documents to respond to the specific job call analysis. So this is not just writing a resume or writing a generic cover letter. This is picking out a specific job call and writing specifically to get the attention of that employer. Again, our course is all about thinking of the reader and speaking to our specific audience. And so that's what we're going to do for these. So you're going to learn not just how to write a resume or a cover letter, but how to write them with specificity that grabs the attention of the people that you're speaking to. All right, so step 1 in this entire process, you're going to have to find 2 job calls. So you can look at Indeed, at Monster. There are a range of places that you can take a look at. So here are all our online job sites: Indeed, Career Builder, Monster, After College, College Recruiter, College Grad, and Monster College. All great places. You can even hop on Twitter and social media to find things. But these are all places to go to find a job call. This can be kind of the dream job that you have once you know you have graduated, or it could be one that you might actually be interested in, a current internship. If it is something you're actually interested in, this could be a really great way to really fine-tune your application documents so you will stand out. So that's your step number 1 that you're going to do, is find your 2 job calls that are in your field. And like I said, preferably they would be something that you could apply to, but I'm also, since you're not quite graduated yet, some of them might require a bachelor's. Go for the ones that you will be going for after you graduate. If you can't find those internships, that you might actually want to kind of send these off to. So once you find those 2 job calls, your analysis is going to consist of responding to the following questions. What is the company looking for? What specific skill sets do they expect? What is the company's corporate culture like? Is it formal, informal, scientific, creative? What are the buzzwords they use? So you want to find at least 2 technical or jargon terms and define them and what they mean, so you can talk about how you can kind of pick out those buzzwords and respond to them. And how might your resume and cover letter respond specifically to this job call? What kind of language will you mimic? What will your tone be based on what you've told me about it? And just Be sure to include comparisons and contrasts between the two ads. You might be more formal in this one because of the, corporate culture here, or be a little bit more creative in this one because they use these kinds of words that indicate that. So that's going to be, what your step one is, finding the job calls and then doing the analysis. So as you're restricting your job search before you get to that analysis part, you want to think about these things. What specialty within your chosen career appeals to you? Nurses, you might think about, do you want to be at a large teaching hospital, work for a hospice agency, be in a physician's office? What type of work conditions appeal to you most? Small groups? Are you willing to travel? Do you want to be able to telecommunicate? Are you okay with living overseas? Would you rather stay near family? So think about the actual conditions that appeal to you. These are also things that you can incorporate in your cover letter as you explain why you're the best person for the job. And then what specific companies or organizations have the best track record for promoting individuals in your field? So what are doing the most innovative work? So think about those things. Make a list. What do you want? Where do you want to go with your career? What kind of culture do you want to be in? What places are kind of your dream places? Make a search and help that kind of guide you as you're restricting your job search. And then again, like I said, social networking, this is a great way to kind of find those things. So with Twitter, you can actually do a job search, do XYZ, your career needed, right? To see what's out there. And of course, there's LinkedIn and the other places that we just looked at to start looking for places. As you are thinking about doing job searches, also be aware of what your internet image is. I'm sure everyone's heard this a lot, but keep your LinkedIn up to date, keep it professional, keep it speaking to a broad audience, and then make sure that just your social media presents the person you would want an employer to see, because this is where they're going to look a lot to find out who you are outside of a cover letter. And then as you're analyzing your job ad, you want to find the job ad, determine the possibility of you getting this job, determine what the problem this company is trying to solve by hiring the person they're solving. You're going to want to speak to that, right? Once you just determine the problem they're trying to solve, you want to paint yourself a portrait of yourself as the person that can solve that problem. And that is what your resume is going to do and your cover letter. Catalog the hard skills that they're looking for. What kind of programs do you need to know? What kind of experience do you need to have? And then the soft skills. Do you need to be organized? Do you need strong verbal communication, strong written communication? Do you need to be able to be someone who's really great in teamwork? You want to catalog both of these things so you know that you want to weave these into your cover letter and be sure to highlight them in your resume. Then you're going to look for buzzwords or keywords, search terms that you're going to kind of speak to without directly just throwing them out there. Then be sure to research the company, their recent projects, their ethos. You want to know basically what their culture is, so you're responding to them in a way that will catch their attention. And then begin a list of how your prior experiences might be spun towards the required skills and buzzwords. Now, when you're first coming into a field, you're not going to have a lot of on-the-ground experience. So the key to everything is be able to spin the experiences that you have. If it is a job where you're going to be working in teams, talk about the teamwork that you've done when you volunteered, when you worked on a really tough project, the way that you either, kind of took a leadership role or was a fantastic team worker to make sure that everyone's strengths were utilized in that team. Think about the way that you can spin something, because even if we don't have a lot of on the ground experience yet, we can spin what we do have to make ourselves into a very great candidate. And then locate the name and title of the person you are applying to. I want to specify here, your cover letters should not say to whom it may concern or to the hiring manager. You need to find out who that person is so you are speaking directly to them. Not only does it personalize it, but it shows that you've done your research. Now, in some cases, you might not be able to find that, so you might have to put to the hiring manager. But if you can, do all you can to find out who you're speaking to specifically and address them. It's an impressive way, and it gives a good first impression. All right, and then step 2 is you're going to find a resume from a professional in your field. So you'll see here, I grabbed this one, just doing a quick search for, I think, civil engineers is what I looked for. So that's going to be your next step. After you've found the job calls that you want to craft your resume and cover letters for, then you're going to find a resume. The reason I want you to do this next is because it's going to help you kind of visualize what successful resumes look like. Once you find that resume, you're going to, in 200 words, describe the types of information, experience you see on the resume and the types that you don't see. So do they talk about high school? Do they include their fraternity or sorority? Do they include their grade point average? Think about what you're seeing and also what you're not seeing so you can think about how to craft your own resume. As you talk about the pros and cons of this resume, I want you to kind of cite the readings that we've done in our lectures to analyze what works and what doesn't, what you like, what you don't like, what they've done well, and maybe what could have made this even stronger. Also talk about the rhetoric of the resume. Does it seem to be responding to a specific kind of job call? What kind of language does it use? What kind of person does it present the applicant as? And then is it missing things in the reading that the readings or the lecture says it is include? Are there extras that you like that I haven't talked about or we haven't seen in the readings? So be sure that you hit all that. It's only 200 words. That's a super short paragraph. And be sure that you include the example of the resume in your packet so I can see the resume that you're looking at. And then step 3 is to craft your resumes and cover letters. So you found your job calls, you found what you want to respond to, you've looked at an example from a professional in your field. Now I want you to get to crafting your resumes and cover letters. So you're responding to them, you're presenting yourself as professional, you're spinning yourself to show like how you have both the hard and soft skills needed. You're using everything that you can to demonstrate that you're not just a possible employee, but the perfect possible employee for the position that they need. That you are answering the call or you're going to be able to solve the problem that they're looking to solve. So that's step 3. Quick little tidbit here. We are going to be doing small informal peer reviews on our various documents as we're working. So know, like, you're going to be doing a peer review of your job call analyses at the beginning of the unit, and then you will use the feedback later on to do revisions in the final. So we're going to stair step them, so you're slowly working on all the pieces of the packet, and you're getting peer feedback as we go instead of having to look at them all at one time. The only one we're not going to be doing peer review on is going to be the professional resume. That's kind of a smaller one, and it's just to help you think about how to kind of mimic or like what you like about that professional resume. So that's the only one we're not going to do peer review on. Otherwise, we're going to be slowly doing those throughout the unit. So that is the beginning of our job application unit. If you have any questions at all, be sure to let me know. Otherwise, let's get to looking for some jobs that we want to apply for.